you have any predictions going into this match, Andre?
I do. I'm going to give it to Sen. I love his EVP style. He loves to make a million drones. MaNa is considered to have the... Well, excuse me, not considered to have. He has the his weakest matchup is ZVP or PVZ. He said this multiple times. He's always been behind with it. His PVT is probably his best matchup by far.
And then his PvP is good too.
His PvP is great, but his PVC has just been kind of off. Now, we saw this happen. He went up against TLO, lost against him. That was actually TLO's first win right there.
Yeah.
Not saying that TLO is a bad player, but TLO is also known for having kind of weaker ZVP over his ZVZ and his ZVT. So that being said, I think a behemoth like Sen, he's the one that is highly favored, and I have to give it to him to take this series.
Yeah, Sen is just outrageous. Like, he's got a 66% win rate against Protoss. He's beaten MaNa in NASL Season 1.
Yeah.
And he hasn't.
Oh my god, I remember that match.
And he's just been doing really well. What is this? Duran wrote down that he hasn't won a ZVP series since Season 2 finals. But Sen beat Todd at the Sunday Showdown, so I don't know if I can trust this anymore. But we do see that MaNa, does scout pretty early. Now, scouting after the pylon in PvZ generally is to see if it's safe enough to go for a Nexus first. Also, just to try to see what Zerg's up to in case they go for any kind of way to punish Forge Fast Expand. But Ohana, generally a safe map to FFE.
Yes.
And I like this kind of opening from MaNa.
Now, I have seen a couple of styles that are really... Whoa, what is Sen doing? He actually moved command all of his drones. But I have seen and MaNa saw it. But I've seen this really interesting style in Ohana, and it's a cheese that comes up on ladder. And I'm so sorry, all you Protosses, because now you're going to see it once I say this.
Is it the hatchery?
No. It's when you're Protoss versus Zerg on this map, you actually go for a double drone attack. All right, and what you do is you clump up both your drones together and go send it and make it look like it's a scout. So you right-click one of the mineral patches.
Oh, yeah.
You take both of the Vespene gas and you go one base roach if you know your opponent is fast expanding. And it's almost impossible to stop, seeing as there's that back destructible rocks and the front. And it's just way, way too efficient. And there's a lot of weight. Well, it's really tough if you go for this Nexus first. You just don't have enough minerals to stop all of these different positions.
That sounds really savage, man.
It is. It's. I've tried to find like ways to defend that.
I'm gonna try to do that.
And
if I play Zerg,
the best way I've actually found is, I can't believe this, but it's to not make the Nexus. Ugh,
so you make everything but the Nexus, the forge, the gateway, the cannons, and everything.
Just the yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
I had to cancel my Nexus to actually defend against it efficiently. Because they are on one base, so you can kind of salvage that. But
yeah, oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, so they fake everything very well.
Exactly.
And
however, it is a big coin flip, because if they go for a game...
Huge coin flip,
well,
man.
Yeah. If they go for gateway and you send 2 drones down there, you're like, crap. Right? Because you have 2 drones down there. It's like, well, I could have been mining the whole time. They have a big advantage now.
Yeah, but, I mean... You can definitely tell on other maps it could be more effective as well. But for now, we see that Sen, he's going to open up his rocks a little bit. You see that pylon being hidden, tucked very neatly away from that hatchery. Sen has no idea. And this could be actually provide to be very catastrophic if Sen's not paying attention to it. And yeah, he's just letting this pylon finish. So this could end very poorly for Zerg.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that this Overlord being inside MaNa's base, there's very little indication. The only thing that maybe he could say is, wow, the Nexuses aren't being chrono boosted. And from there, he's like, okay, well, normally when you chrono boost your Nexuses, all your money is being spent over there. It looks like MaNa will be found. These 4 Zerglings were able to somehow eliminate those cannons. I think maybe he did see that the Nexus weren't chrono boost, because that's like the #1 thing you do. You just chrono boost your Nexus. It's very clear. One thing I would say, MaNa could have just chrono boosted this Nexus and not produced off of the other one. That might have been efficient, so that it kind of makes it look like he's not doing those cannons. But overall, Sen was able to find out. Good job.
That's interesting. I never thought about chrono boost in terms of cannons and whatnot. So
yeah, because think like the chrono boost actually makes you spend a lot faster, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have that expendable income or that expendable minerals to actually make all those cannons. So if you see no chrono boost, then obviously your opponent is gearing up for something, whether it be gateways, Obviously, you don't see the cybernetics core being chrono boosted, so
it's a huge knowledge
could
bomb,
be
man.
forage. Forage, it could be the gateway. There's something. You have to look where it's allocated.
Yeah, and these are small little tells that just give Sen the edge. As you can see that he has his 3 hatcheries pretty comfortably, gassing very intensely. 3 geysers at right now. Nope, 4 geysers, and getting his Roach Warren. So his Roach Warren's slightly delayed, but no worries. He's getting a pretty heavy drone count. He's already at in the mid-50s. My goodness.
I do want to say that he was able to get this 4th gas, in my opinion, because he scouted out and eliminated those cannons and the pylon. If he didn't do that, I think he has to stay on 3. But now he can inch out a couple more drones, obviously get a little bit more gas.
Yeah.
That'll obviously spill over into faster tech, faster upgrades, and allow him to deal with any incoming pushes. We do see a Stargate, and look at this. It's okay. I was like, where's the Void Ray? I thought it was just Phoenix's, but it's Phoenix plus Void Ray.
But he's got a +1 about to finish, so he's going to follow up with aggression in some shape or form. He's got 3 more gateways in production, getting some sentries and robotics. A pretty clean transition. Of course, the idea, the standard PvZ always is harass with air, try to force either spores, maybe even you can bait some hydras out, and of course go to standard death ball. And MaNa's a very passive PvZ player. He loves harassing from a distance and just trying to turtle up. We saw that as he's been when he went up against TLO.
Yeah.
And Sen at this point is just super comfortable. He's always at the 60 drone, just a little bit under that, and you can tell that right now he's just sitting very comfortably. He's getting Carapace upgrade though. That's actually really interesting.
Carapace to deal with the +1, he's trying to have a little bit more relevance with his Zerglings than normal. If he went for +1 missile attacks or +1 melee attack, then his Zerglings would always be 2-shotted. But that's another big, like, I wouldn't say gamble, but there's a small timing because there could be Twilight Council immediately, and then +2 is inbound. So it works out this game. We'll see how it does a little bit later on. But Sen, I think we can all agree, he's in a pretty comfortable lead, seeing as he's been able to drone up untouched, 67.
I mean, look at this. MaNa has been moving out with his Void Rays. No units forced out whatsoever. Sen's been on 1 Zergling up until just now, where a few Zerglings will be popping out. But he's also getting Hydras. Oh my. As you see that MaNa, of course, switching to Robotics Bay Tech. No doubt going to get his Colossus count high. And Sen has a lot of upgrades that we're not used to seeing at this point in time. Ventral Sacks, Groove Spines, Legal Reconstitution. And yeah, I mean, Sen's gearing up for a huge amount of units. Now, I haven't seen this too often out of Sen.
He's going for Hydra Zergling drop and looking to just add to his opponent. You know, Ohana is a tough map to actually attack into. That's one of the main complaints, I think, from Zergs. But it's really easy to take your bases and kind of defend them pretty effectively. So we're going to see him and the power of these Hydras and Zerglings enabled by the Overlord drop. We're going to see them do a lot of damage, and I think if he hits before the Colossus comes out, he won't hit before there.
No, the Colossus will come out, but it doesn't matter. If you have Overlords, you have mobility. And there's 2 things that really limit Hydras against Protoss is range and mobile and low HP. Actually, there's a lot of things going up against Hydras and against Protoss.
I was
but
like, the only thing.
I was like, yeah, no. It's just like when you get in an argument with like your loved ones, and it's like, yeah, and you do this, and then all of a sudden you start thinking everything negative, like, and you do this, and you don't do this, and you don't do this, and then just get out of control. But yeah, Hydras, if you can drop them next to Army and just let them lay out DPS while being protected, they actually can shred the units really easily before MaNa gets a considerable amount of units out. He does have Thermal Lance about to finish, though, and if Sen wants to really commit to this, he has to strike relatively soon, because I feel like MaNa eventually will have enough units that if you can get a good position, really negate the effect of the drop.
But here's the thing right now. It looks like Sen has not been teching up to Spire Tech, and he really needs that. He desperately needs it because his opponent is going just so many Colossus.
Yeah.
And this is a big 2-base push. I don't think he's really gearing up for a 3rd base, although he could. I mean, MaNa always surprised me. My God, if he puts down a 3rd base, my mind's going to explode.
Well, he could be faking it.
He could.
He could be.
But knowing MaNa, he's not going to.
He sees the army.
Like,
no, he sees the army. He's pulling back immediately. He knows. And yeah, man, it would be folly. They would write write stories on Ohana and tell them to their later generations about the Protoss that took the 3rd.
And here we have it.
Oh, this is so clever. Look at that. Oh, never mind. I thought Sen was going to fake the Overlord drops to reposition the units and crash. But that's what I thought originally was because he was moving with empty.
Go for it.
Yeah, but he's going to go for it. I was like, oh, this is so clever. But
Oh, no. And MaNa is pulling out at the worst time. Let's go ahead and look at the MaNa cam right now and see how he's actually going to react to this, because the units are so out of place. This might actually force Sen to go into a base race.
Yeah, because MaNa's already halfway across the map, and his army is not that mobile. His Stalkers don't have blinks, so they can't rearrange, and he sees the drop. He's going to immediately start heading back home. MaNa is going to lose a lot of infrastructure and a ton of probes. You see the probes trying to evacuate, but the Roaches and Hydras have something to say about it, as only a few managed to survive the onslaught. MaNa's starting to work on the gateway count, and Sen is dropping at the natural as well. Very good, because he's going to be able to stall enough time at the natural to completely ravage the main, and MaNa completely caught off position, and no matter what, even if he's able to take out the entire army, Sen has bought valuable time.
Yeah.
As you can see, he's already preparing a tech switch.
This army composition is rubbish against what MaNa is doing, but the sheer positioning was enough to give Sen so much time. Now he has plenty of time to remax. Look at this. The main Nexus goes down. All the gateways are unpowered.
Wow.
I don't know what MaNa can do from here, but another round of Roaches.
Oh,
they just walk directly in.
Oh, that's really bad for MaNa. And you can see Sen picking his opponent apart as MaNa caught in the one group. What is it? The control group syndrome. I was thinking the medical term for that. As you could see that MaNa controlling everything, not really focusing on protecting, and now forced to use all of his resources just to remake his next line. He has no real way to do anything. He can't make any more units. He's deep in the red, and yeah, he's just going to have to counterattack. He's got to make something happen, and Sen should be completely prepared for this.
Oh, yeah. Sen, all he has to do is engage ever so slightly, just start going back and forth, kiting his opponent's units while the Corruptors do work on those Colossus. There really aren't enough Stalkers, or I think enough stuff to actually defend against all of this. And we're going to see the Corruptors just go to town on those Colossus. We'll see how it works out right now. And
good initial
Baneling drops too.
Oh, he's going to try to drop these Banelings onto the army. MaNa's not coming back forward. The Sentries have so much energy, but they will never be able to dispense it because MaNa has been completely exposed. GG. Sen takes game number 1 in dominating fashion.
Oh my god, so dominating. That was the perfect word for it. Sen just absolutely ravaged his opponent's base with that beautiful Hydra Roach timing. And I like what he did. He kind of showed his units out in the front and said, hey, come at me, come at me, come at me. And ultimately, MaNa did. He was like, I have a better composition than you. Of course I'm going to come at you. And then instantly, there you had it. The drop came and was inbound and did just so much damage.
And that's why ultimately you see that it's really important just for small things. Like Protosses want hallucinations sometimes by mid-game to keep track of stuff.
Yeah.
Just observer movement. MaNa was playing really blind for a long period of time. And if he knew that was coming, he would never have moved out. Would have shut down the drops. Who knows if he picked off supply, could have went for a counterattack or something, got to third base. The possibilities are unknown. But let's look at the replay of one of the most important moments of the match in the NASL Rewind. We can see that right here. Sen dropping immediately. Now, what I love about this is that Sen knows, okay, I'm not going to unload everything and lose everything. He's going to go ahead and drop half his other army at the natural and continue to keep Protoss away from his main base.
Yeah, because think this double drop, it enables the drop in the main to actually have a lot more time to go to work on the Nexus, on the gateways, etc. So removing all the production from the Protoss, it's a lot more intelligent. And I love what you said, Frodan. The fact of the matter is he should have had hallucination. Tracking this army is so important. If he doesn't know where it is, if he loses sight with it, obviously the Zerg army can get in great position. I think MaNa really didn't expect his opponent to be going drop of all things, and it costed him the game.
And so MaNa has to go back to the drawing board. He has the next map pick. Of course, this is replays, guys. We had our live series, the previous series, but this is a replay. We just want to clarify that. Some people may be wondering. That game was brought to you by Epson, the people who provide the projectors for NASL Season 3. Thank you so much, Epson. Which camera were we looking at? He was like, oh, camera 1, camera 2. We'll be back with Game 2 between Sen versus MaNa. Can MaNa come back, or will Sen complete the sweep? Find out after this commercial.